What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm and Farming Simulator 15. So, it's harvest time, at least for the barley anyway. I had, for some reason, thought that I'd put the barley in the ground after the potatoes. Apparently, the barley went in the ground before the potatoes. As you can see, I've already started, just done a couple of rows. It's good that the barley's up, actually, because, as you guys are probably aware, I need the straw desperately. I don't have any straw whatsoever. You can see it's 6:30 in the morning. Now, normally you wouldn't harvest this early in the morning because of dew and all that, but if you look at the little weather tag there, we're due to have some hail, and I want to get this harvest done before the hail starts. It's a very pretty morning right now with a beautiful sunrise coming up over the hills, as you can see, and I figured, you know what, we better get started before that hail comes. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do any auto combine or any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and do this myself. When the combine gets full, I'll just drive over here to the tipper and unload it. Because this, these fields are just kind of small and kind of odd sized and whatnot, so it makes it a little tricky to get the tractor and the tipper around them. It's just easier if I do it myself. So I think we'll go ahead and jump in the cab, turn this on. I'm sure I'll make a big mess of this, I'll probably have to come in and rake all this straw, just, to keep from having to go up and down a million times with the baler, so. Yeah, but I'm really glad that this, go ahead and set the cruise control. I'm really glad that this barley came up, because I do desperately need the straw, so with winter coming, I'm not going to have a whole lot of straw. Hopefully I'll have enough to get through, the little bit of winter that I'm going to simulate, so. This is kind of what I'm going to focus on in this episode. Probably just get this harvest done, get everything in a silo. It'll be the last sort of grain that goes in the silo, because as you guys are probably remember from the last episode, I outlined some of the plans I have. The silo is going to come down. I'm going to dismantle it and haul it away. I found somebody to buy it, actually, which was very good. I got a phone call. I sort of posted it on this used farm equipment website in the area. And I got a call from a guy about 100 miles away, and he was like, you're still looking to maybe sell that silo, in one piece. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, And he's like, sure. He says, give me a price, and I'll come down and and take it off your hands. So sent him a bunch of pictures and kind of showed him what was up, and he looked like he was pretty interested in it. So I gotta remember now to make sure the straw stops so I don't leave windrows everywhere. Yeah, so he was interested in it. Gave him a decent price. Going to make a little bit of money off it. So, and I'll be glad to see it go because it's expensive to run. It's kind of fiddly if it jams up in that big concrete tube that runs underneath the ground. There's an access hatch, but it's not pleasant to crawl down there, with a flashlight and try to figure out where the jam is and everything. So, drying sheds would be a lot better for me. A lot cheaper to run, and more sort of in keeping with the heritage of the area. So, I mean, you guys can see that silo, you can see that silo from quite a ways away, so it's a little bit of an eyesore. It is handy, modern technology and all that. Modern, I mean, that silo is about 35 years old, I think. So, one thing, it is in good shape. It was well maintained. I kept it up, it's all completely functional and everything. Whoops, I am full. It's just not something that I want to continue operating, so anywhere I can save some money on the farm is a good thing. So the yield on this has not been awful. I did manage to get, you can see the soil moisture is not great, but the other, the nutrient levels are not bad, and the soil pH is good. So I kind of got this field back, not a lot of weeds, a few weeds, but not too many, unlike the grass fields, which are in, just horrible shape, but probably going to spread some manure on those before too much longer. Just to kind of get those back to where they're supposed to be for come springtime, because obviously we're going to need a lot more grass. We have the beef cattle, we have the pigs, we have the dairy cattle, and now we have sheep. So, and I think come springtime I'm going to buy quite a few lambs and get into lambing too. Why not? I kind of wish this thing unloaded a little faster. I know it's probably realistic, the discharge rate, but it would be nice if it went a little bit faster. Oh. Okay, well, there we go. No, the first 6,400 liters in the tipper, which is always nice. That tipper right there, that's the Marshall scale tipper from FSUK. I picked that up. Not sure where I'm going here. Could have just went forward. I picked that up day before yesterday in real life, because it's a little more scale. As you guys are probably aware, the original Marshall from Giants was a nice mod, but it wasn't particularly scaled well, you know. So somebody went along and made a sort of a new version of it, you know, scaled it up, and it's also color selectable. The actual chassis and the wheel, I think the wheel hubs are color selectable. I just kept it with the original, you know, Marshall colors, but it's still cool, you know, and it looks a little better on the back of a trailer. It doesn't look quite so small. The other one, you know, looked, you could tell it wasn't the right scale. This one looks better, so just a 1-for-1 swap. Got rid of the old Marshall and picked up that one. Hopefully this harvest won't take too long. You know, this isn't a very big field, so because if I have time, if this episode doesn't turn out to be ridiculously long, just, you know, on the harvest, I may come down here and rake this, and then we'll bail it up in another episode, and then I'll probably do a little fast forward of time and get the potatoes up and ready. I realized also that I don't have a topper. Gonna need a topper. I have a potato harvester, but no topper, so. And I'm really hoping that this Case Puma will run a topper and a harvester at the same time. I think it should. 230 horsepower. You know, it shouldn't be a real big issue. Because I don't want to have to do that in 2 separate steps. If I can do it all at the same time, that'd be a lot better. Come springtime too, depending on the money situation, we're going to look at another front loader tractor probably. I'm going to need another tractor anyway, so it might make sense to buy another front loader tractor. Even though we have the skid steer and the Ford, but we definitely need another tractor. A tractor that can pull implements and has a little bit of power, because right now the Case is really the only tractor we have with any sort of, you know, real power. The Ford is okay. It's good for pulling tippers and stuff, but you put a cultivator on it or even one of the 3-meter seeders, the 3-point seeders, and it struggles. So gonna need to pick up some additional power. Plus also, as I've said, you know, a couple times now, I want to buy some more fields. I also want to increase the dairy herd, and I want to buy lambs. So all that stuff's going to require a lot of money, obviously, and so, you know, and that's all going to have to come from the milk sales, you know, the egg sales, the animal sales, and from whatever we get from this grain and the potatoes. So I'm fairly happy with the yield on this barley. It's not awful, you know, it's not as bad as I probably thought it was going to be at one, you know, in the beginning, because, you know, again, I sort of had to rush through the soil prep of these fields. I didn't do really as good a job with it as I probably should have, but overall the yield has not been awful, so I'm pretty happy with that. I may rethink this headland thing. It is kind of neat, you know, it's neat to be able to turn around, you know, and not drive on the crop, but for grain, I think it probably makes more sense to not leave quite so much of a headland. I think potatoes, it'll be fine. I think that, especially with the length of that potato harvester, and then when you put a topper on the front of the tractor, you've got a lot of length there that you need to turn around on the edges of the field. So for the potatoes, this much headland, I think, will probably be okay. Some of you guys may have seen the post. Today is Sunday. You guys will probably see this on Tuesday, because I have another episode going up for Monday. So you may have seen on Facebook that I posted a little sort of screenshot of a sign that said Old Ridge, British Sugar Company, Old Ridge Beet Collection Point sign that I made. I didn't make the actual sign. I just made the graphic that went on it, because that's another sort of addition that's coming to the area, to the map, you know, the British Sugar Beet Collection Point, and I am most definitely going to put sugar beets in the ground next year, because I've already been in talks with BSC, and they are certainly willing to give me a contract. So, you know, so that'll be fun. Sugar beets, as you guys know, is something I really enjoy doing. So, I really kind of want to get a big field for that, because I wouldn't mind hiring somebody to come in with a ropa and harvest it for me. You know, just because then I get to see a ropa work, and that's always fun. Okay, you know what? While we're here, and since this is 75% full, might as well go empty it. Could probably move the tractor and the tipper too, no, so I don't have to drive quite so far. The less driving on the fields, the less compaction, the better, right? So, kind of loaded this wrong. I should have loaded the back first, but okay, you know, It is farm sim after all, so yeah, this is a nice tipper. You know, there's been a couple of additions, a couple of new like safety, you know, the reflective stickers and whatnot. But the ultimate thing is that it's more to scale. It just looks better, you know. So, because I really like these Marshall trailers, and to be honest, I didn't notice it because I have no experience with Marshall trailers in real life. David Oldfield was actually the one who pointed it out, you know, in one of his old Ridge Farm Let's Plays, and he actually went in and changed it himself, you know. So, and I probably could have done that as well, but there are some things that I'm comfortable changing in a game. There are some things that I'm not. I didn't want to screw it up and make it look all out of proportion and look weird. So, you know, the fact that somebody came along and did it right is very cool. I'm sitting here I'm sitting here doing this thinking, geez, am I really going to have to rake this, or can I maybe get away with just going up and down with the baler? Because I really want to get this straw. I really need it. But the problem with that is there's a lot of wear and tear on a baler going up and down each one of these rows, you know, not to mention the soil compaction and everything else. So it's probably going to make more sense if I, you know, run a rake up and down this and pull these rows at least 2 into 1, you know. I have no plans of getting a bigger combine. I like this combine. This combine's fine. It works good. You know, I would like to pay Sean off, you know, for it at some point. You know, I'm down. I've made $20,000 in payments, you know. So over the winter, the payments might be a little rough because the only income I'm really going to have is, you know, eggs and milk. But it should be okay, you know. And he's certainly understanding. You know, he's not. If I'm a couple days late in the payment, you know, he's a farmer. He knows what it's like. He's not, you know, calling me up and, you know, sending a lorry down with a flatbed on it to pick up the combine or anything. So. Yeah, you know, driving a harvester myself is not awful. It's not something I do a lot of, you know, as I've said a couple of times. Just because usually when I'm doing it, I'm doing other things. Whoops, forgot that wasn't quite done yet. You know, usually I'm doing other things while this is going on, but I really don't have a whole lot else to do. I did take a run through the fields you know, very early this morning before I started the harvest, and sprayed some PK on all the potatoes. Actually, the potato fields have come along quite nicely. The soil moisture is decent. There's not a ton of weeds, and the nutrient levels are pretty good. So we might actually have a decent potato yield. Luckily, I had time, you know, because I have soil mod set to 1 growth cycle per day. So I kind of have time to sort of bring the soil conditions back to where they're supposed to be if they go wrong. So overall, this arable harvest is not awful. The grass. You know, the grass was not great just because, as I said, I just didn't give it the attention it needed. I didn't have time. I was too busy rebuilding the map, getting everything back in the ground, getting stuff done, you know, getting stuff back to where it was. So the grass sort of paid the price for that. But have no fear. We'll be spreading slurry. I have plenty of slurry. So you know, my cows aren't making any more solid manure because they don't have any more straw. But we'll be rectifying that situation pretty soon, too. And I'll be spreading slurry on all the meadows to get some nutrients back in the ground. So I'll also be planting alfalfa on all these fields once they're all done. As I've mentioned, you know, it's sort of as a cover crop to keep the nitrate loss down and to keep, you know, dust and wind and you know, soil, topsoil loss and all that to a minimum. You know, keep some moisture in the fields too. That's a big deal. So, especially with the drought we've been having, you know, again, we're going to get some liquid, but it's not liquid. It's solid. You know, it's going to be hail instead of rain. We haven't had any rain in a long time, and a bunch of us have been, you know, down the pub talking about this, you know, and, you know, it hasn't rained. I don't think it's rained since, you know, any significant rain. We've had some sprinkles and, you know, a couple of showers here and there, but any real measurable rain since pretty much right after I came to Old Ridge. So that's definitely becoming a concern, you know, and the parish is kind of on some of us about irrigation. You know, most of us are doing, you know, most of the farms in this area aren't massive. There's a couple of good sized ones, Mike's being one. Mike's farm is a pretty good sized farm, but a lot of them are smaller farms, you know, and we do irrigate our crops, obviously, you know, with a sprayer. And the parish is kind of getting to the point now where they're like, listen, you know, you need to kind of conserve some water, so maybe you want to lay off the irrigation. One good thing is that we are not taking the water from any sort of public supply. My water comes from a well that I had drilled for myself, you know. So, you know, it's not, I'm not taking it away from the local supply so much. you know. But I guess at some point they're probably going to, you know, the parish and the council and the people in charge of that are going to say, you know, hey, listen, we need you to, until we get some real serious rain for an extended period of time, we need you to not irrigate your fields, which is really going to stink. That'll really affect the yield, you know. So what it'll really affect is the grass and our animals, you know. You guys may be aware of this, especially if you're from the UK. You probably are aware of the fact that milk prices in the UK, well, the prices that farmers are paid for milk is dismal. It's awful. You know, I have friends in America who are getting paid easily 3 times, you know, per ton of milk what I get paid. You know, and things are not cheap over here. You know, they're not cheap anywhere, obviously, but they're certainly more expensive over here. Things like, you know, immunizations, things like, you know, the mandatory inspections, things like vet bills. You know, when I have the vet come out once a month and, you know, run through the animals and check them, make sure they have no diseases. Whoops, I always forget about that. You know, and all that sort of thing. It's very expensive, easily twice what it costs in America, you know, for that sort of thing. And the prices that we're being paid for milk are, to be frank, ridiculous. There was a big sort of sit-in, I would call it, or a blockade, I guess, of a Tesco distribution center not too long ago. A whole bunch of farmers got together and drove down there with their tractors and blocked the entrance, you know, wouldn't let anything in or out, to protest the, you know, the just horrible milk prices. And I seriously hope, Tesco being, you know, a massive company and being one of the bigger, you know, buyers of milk in the area, I know a lot of my milk that I sell goes to Tesco's. It would be nice if Tesco's would kind of come along and say, hey, listen, you know, we would love to support the, you know, the UK farmer and you know, and not import so much milk. And that's the reason why milk prices, that the prices we're being paid for milk has dropped so low, is because they're importing milk from other places. Come on. Buy UK, right? You know, I mean, yes, I'm an American, and I love my home country, you know what I mean? But I live in the UK now, and, you know, I certainly try to buy British as much as I can, you know what I mean? I everywhere I can, you know, I can spend a pound on a British product, I definitely will, because this is my, you know, this is sort of my home now. This is where I live, you know, and I want to support the farmers and my friends and everything else. So, and I really hope Tesco's kind of gets on, you know, gets on board with that, and realizes that pretty soon there's not going to be any British dairy farmers left, because we're not going to be able to afford to do it. You know, I know I struggle. I don't make any money off my dairy cows unless I sell them. You know what I mean? That's the only way I make any money. You know, I would love to expand my herd, and I have to expand my herd in order to make at least a sustainable amount of money from the milk, you know. And the problem with this, when you extend your herd, when you make your herd bigger, you've got all the other bills. You've got feed bills, you've got more, you know, electricity bills, you've got more vet bills, you know, and everything else that comes along with a bigger herd. So, you know, beef cattle prices are pretty good, you know, for the most part. Haven't had a real issue with that. You know, pigs sell very well. So, you know, I don't know about lambs, because I have not had any experience with lambs. But from what I hear from other people, you know, in the area, lamb prices are pretty decent, you know. So we just need to get the milk prices, you know, up to a decent. And we're not asking for, you know, I'm not asking for $15 a ton. You know what I mean? I would just something sustainable, something that, so when I do my books at the end of the year and I say, wow, you know, it cost me $35,000 to keep my herd, my dairy herd, you know, alive and healthy and producing, and I only made $18,000 in milk. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's my rant about that. You know, grain prices are what they are. Barley tends to sell very well in the UK. Barley gets, you know, a lot of things get made with barley in the UK. So, you know, and I may become sort of a almost exclusive barley farmer. Wheat does well in this area too, but I don't have the acreage, you know, to really sort of. Wheat is one of those things that, although a great deal of it gets exported, you know, you need a great deal of it to make money. You know, obviously in America, where you have, you know, fields, you know, that are 4,000 or 5,000 acres, you know, you have a few fields like that. You certainly have enough acreage to be able to, you know, make wheat profitable. For me, I don't really have that kind of acreage, so wheat prices are slightly higher over here than they are in America, which is good, you know. But it doesn't really offset the fact that I would really need probably, if I was going to do a complete wheat harvest, I'd probably need about 500 acres to really make it worth it, to pay for the maintenance, to pay for the fuel, to pay for the the wages I have to pay to get guys to come out and cart for me and everything else. So but barley on the other hand is very profitable, and I don't need a ton of it to make money off of it. Potatoes are kind of the same thing. Potatoes do very well in the UK as well. From what I understand, this is my first time selling potatoes or growing potatoes in the UK. I haven't sold them yet, but from what I've been reading and what I've been hearing from other people, the potato prices are good. So that that should do fairly well. And again, I'm getting ready to spend a significant amount of money. As you guys may know, the bank looks for its a big chunk of money. I have to pay the bank every month, obviously, but at the end of the year, after harvest time, the bank looks for, they know you have to submit how much yield you got, where it went, how much you sold it for, how much you sold, how much you still have in storage, and everything like that. And then you take all that information and they put together some numbers, and they get in contact with you and say, okay, well, we need this much money. And it's quite a bit more than your monthly payment, because they figure, well, you've made this money, on our money, basically. So we need some of that back. And that's fine, I certainly don't have an issue with that. But, the problem with that is that I kind of need the extra money that I would send to them to fund or to pay for all the things that I want to do on the farm. So I've already been in talks with the bank about maybe getting an extension on my yearly payment. And of course, there's payments that you get, environmental payments and things like that you get, for being a farmer, subsidies, not big money, but a little bit, so all that should hopefully offset the cost of a new shed, of having the silo taken down. Now, luckily, I did sell the silo in pretty much en masse. I sold the whole deal except for the underground bits, which I'm just going to leave there anyway. Seal them off on both ends and leave them there. The powerhouse, the silo itself, all the blowers, all the discharges and the feeds and all that, I've sold, all I have to pay for is to have somebody come and take it down for me. And then the buyer will pay to have it shipped off to his place, which is really good. So that will offset probably the cost of the drying shed. I'll get another steel building in. Probably be a little different this time. It won't just be a big open building. It'll be a little bit more involved. I think I said this in a previous episode. It'll have to have a concrete pad laid and everything, which is fine. I can do that myself. I'm pretty handy with that kind of stuff. And then they'll just come in and basically build the building. It'll be another modular building, sort of, with doors and probably some lights and things like that, And then all the gates. But the cost of the gates will actually be offset to an extent by the savings that I'm going to get on my insurance. Obviously, right there is going to have a gate. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to see if I can get somebody to bring me some hedge and get a hedge planted maybe between that tree and that gate, just to close it off. Again, if you want to get in something with a hedge, it's not really going to stop you, you know what I mean? But the insurance company, as I said, looks at it that at least you're taking an effort, making an effort to, keep your stuff secure. And I certainly don't want to lose anything. I know David Oldfield, before he left the area, had his, I believe it was his Sammy tractor stolen, and they basically burnt it up and left it in a pond, and I certainly don't want that to happen. And as I mentioned, there is an epidemic of farm equipment theft in the UK, and I've been very lucky. And my farm is wide open, you know what I mean? So, geez, I always forget. This thing just takes off when it's full. So. I'm worried about compaction, but I'll drive this big, heavy harvester all the way across the field to dump it. I should have moved the tractor, but I was kind of on a roll there, so I didn't really want to stop. If we can get a whole tipper of barley, that'd be awesome. It'll go in a silo for now, and then obviously I'll sell it, because I should probably get this front filled up a little bit. All right, now we can back up, kind of even it out a little bit. And then I'll obviously sell it, because I'll have to take it out of the silo anyway, and I won't have the drying shed won't be done, so I won't have any place to put it. Again, I said this last episode, I don't really store my grain for very long, you know what I mean? I need to sell it pretty much right away. So, like, I could probably go sell this right now. Oh, and it's full. Okay. So we might as well go dump that before I forget. Do I put the cover on? Is it going to stick through the cover? Nope. Nope. Okay, very good. Just want to make sure it wasn't actually going to stick through the cover. Now I should have folded in the pipe. Am I going to catch the pipe on anything? Nope. Okay. Yeah, we'll go dump this in the silo and then come back and finish up this field. Maybe we'll rake it. Maybe we'll see with 25 minutes, you know, I don't know. Maybe focusing on one thing in an episode, especially something like this, you know, harvest might not be a bad idea, so. And then in the next episode, we'll rake and bale it. I can't wait to see the process of taking that silo down. You know, it does, believe it or not, bolt together, basically. As I think I've sort of mentioned in another episode, it's basically just big, giant, you know, galvanized steel tubes that are bolted together with an inner lining. So the grain doesn't get stuck and whatnot, you know what I mean? So, and then it's just a matter of unplugging everything, basically unwiring everything. The powerhouse and the head house there just sit on a concrete pad. They're not secured to it at all. So it's just a matter of sort of winching that whole, craning that whole thing up, and off you go. So. Yeah, 22,200 liters of barley. Not too shabby at all. Kind of wish the chickens ate barley. Because then I wouldn't have to grow wheat at all. But I will have to obviously grow some wheat for them. You know, although the amount, the wheat that I do have will probably last them forever, you know. So. I want to thank, I wish I remembered who gave me the suggestion about the Unimog, you know, that you can haul grain in it. Yep. You know, again, did I completely forget that? Of course I did. Because I've actually hauled grain in it before, you know, and I completely forgot, and thank you for that suggestion. You know, and keep that stuff coming, guys. I never take offense at any suggestion you guys leave me, because, you know, even if I know something, you know what I mean, and you still suggest it anyway, that's fine, you know what I mean? I appreciate all the help. So, because, again, you know, the Unimog, I wouldn't have had to buy that little trough thing. If I'd have just remembered I could put a little bit of grain in the Unimog and, you know, feed the chickens that way. So keep those suggestions coming, because as you guys know, BP doesn't remember anything. So we should get quite a few bales off of this. That'll be good. You know, then I could get, because I believe that I know the dairy cows are out of straw. I don't know if the other animals are or not. They weren't the last time I checked. So, but again, they go through the stuff a lot less frequently than the dairy cows do. So. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I think we'll finish up this field, and then in the next episode we'll rake it and bale it. And then I'll fast forward time, and in the episode after that we'll be harvesting potatoes. That should be fun. Probably gonna, I don't know, you know, I bought all those potatoes, if you remember from the last episode I showed you guys at the very end there, where I bought the mower and the potato boxes. I bought those potato boxes for, I'm not really sure why I bought them. I don't know if I'm gonna load the, like, as they come off the harvester, if they're gonna go in the boxes, or if they're gonna go in a tipper and then go in the boxes and go off to get sold. I don't know. Or I could just use the Ross boxes. You know, lots of options. I'm not really sure. I just thought they were neat, so I bought them. Hence why BP never has any money. You can see the alfalfa's growing up pretty good over there. Lots of weeds in there, but again, don't care, you know. It's all fertilizer as far as I'm concerned with that stuff. So not going to waste a bunch of money making, you know, putting weed, you know, herbicide and nutrients and everything down on a field when, you know, I'm just looking for some free fertilizer anyway. Excuse me. Hopefully over the winter we can accumulate enough manure that I can actually spread most of the fields that I own with it. Manure is a great source of nitrogen. You know what I mean? Is it easier to spray NPK? Sure, but manure, you just can't beat it. You know, for nutrient replenishment. So, you know, and you know, it's a byproduct of something you've already paid for anyway. So, you know, that's what makes it really ideal for me. You know, I mentioned this before. You know, I wouldn't mind going organic, but at the moment, I don't have the acreage to make that feasible. The weeds would take too much yield, and I'd lose money, and I cannot afford to. You know, I just about make all my payments as it is: my equipment payments, my loan payments. You know, the payment to Sean. You know, so you know, and I've had to take out a couple of interim loans during the year now, and I'm getting ready to take out another one. The bank has been awesome with me. You know, and to pay for all this other stuff. So, you know, the shed and the fences and all that stuff. So, you know, it's funny, the fences are actually being built by a company that specializes in making sort of vintage looking fences, but out of more modern materials that will, you know, take the elements better and provide better security. So somebody pointed me in the direction of them, and I went to their website and I took a look at what they were doing, and then somebody came out, you know, did a bunch of measurements and everything, and brought some sort of samples. They came out in a big van with like 4 fence gate samples in the back of it, full-size gate samples, you know. And I took a look at them, and I picked ones that I liked, and they look very vintage, but they're brand new. They're made out of all, you know, pressure-treated lumber and you know, steel and whatnot. You know, with big hasps and things for locks and all that, and you know, they should last. I think they're guaranteed to last 30 years. You know, so that's going to be awesome. They're expensive. Don't get it wrong. You know, especially when they have to come out and install them all. But I think it's going to be worth it. So. A couple more passes here. You know, I say this every single time, right? I always forget, you know, when you're looking at the field from maybe, you know, ground level or in a tractor, it doesn't look very big. But then you get in the harvester and you realize that this harvester doesn't have very much, you know, a cutting width on it anyway. So, you know, it takes a lot longer than you think it's going to when you're actually in it doing it. But that's okay. It's relaxing. It's something I enjoy doing. I think we're going to beat the hail, so... You know, again, it would be nice if we could get some liquid water. Liquid water would be good. I know Mike is really, you know, sort of paying the price. It's not so bad for me because I don't have the ton, you know, the massive acreage that he has. He's really paying the price as far as irrigation and everything goes. He's pretty much irrigating every day, you know. I can kind of get away with it, you know, maybe every other day or so. It's just unfortunate, you know. I don't know. You put that down to climate change or just bad, you know, an inopportune weather cycle. I don't really know. But you know, being a farmer, obviously, you become very intimate with the weather. You're always out in it. You're out in the sun. You're out in the heat. You're out in the cold. You're out in the, you know, the rain sometimes. So I would definitely not mind being out in the rain if we could get some. There we go. This time I won't go racing across the crop. All right, windrow done. There we go. That would be kind of neat if there was some sort of, like, I don't know, over here with the controls and the displays, if there was some sort of indicator to tell you when the straw tank was empty, you know, so that you know you can drive away or, you know, make a turn without leaving a weird windrow everywhere. I don't know how that would work, but maybe that's something some of you Gee Whiz modders could figure out. That would be awesome. I believe this Marshall holds, well, it does. It holds 22,200 liters, which is a bit more than the Giants one did. Apparently, the mod creator, you know, did some research at Marshall's website and said, you know, they're this long, they're this wide, they're this high, they hold this much, and they cost this much. You know what I mean? Which is great. You know, that you can't get any more realistic than that, than taking the information from the manufacturer themselves. That's as realistic as you can possibly get. And kudos to the map creator, the mod creator for that. That's one kind of problem with when you run the head you know, sort of realistically with the reel up and everything, you can't really see where you're going when you're driving. Now, I could just lower it, you know, and then raise it up again, but nah. Unlike in real life, I can hop outside and see where I'm going, so. All right, let's try to get straightened out there. Very nice. Yep, the yield seems to be really good, so I'm very happy about that. I'm glad this field. Well, you can see, I mean, the soil condition, except for the soil moisture, the soil condition is pretty good. The pH is a little high, sort of getting towards acidic, but not awful. You know, the nutrients are good. The soil moisture is low, but you know, we could probably fix that. Again, basically, what I'm going to do is we're going to rake and bale this straw, and then I'm going to plant alfalfa on this field, and then I'm going to leave it for the spring. Come spring, we'll you know, either mulch it down or plow it in, spread a bunch of manure, turn that in, and then get planting. So, and hopefully have some really good soil to go along with it. I don't know why I always turn that thing off. I could just hit my one of my controls here on my steering wheel and raise it while it's running. But I always reach up and hit the B button. I guess it's just one of those habit things, you know. So by the time you guys see this, it'll be a couple days into the voting for the next Farming Simulator 15 map. Come on, BP, what are you trying to say here? And I want to thank every single person who's, you know, made suggestions, who's watched the videos, who's voted. Quite a few of you. Now, remember, it's Sunday when I'm recording this, so, and it's already been a whole bunch of votes. You know what I mean? And I want to say this too for anybody who may be watching this and hasn't voted yet. Don't let Chellington scare you. A couple of people have left me comments, and I appreciate your concern for me and my computer. It means a lot to me, you know, because you guys are all very aware of what my computer will do and what it won't do. But I'm pretty sure that I can get Chellington to a point where it looks good and runs good with the amount of equipment on it that it needs. I think. You know what I mean? I can't guarantee that, obviously, but I think. So don't let that deter you from voting for Chellington if that's the map you want to see. If not, then by all means vote for whatever you want. I'm perfectly happy. I'll play on any of them. You know what I mean? I just think it's cool that you guys can get involved and help me, you know, or not even help me, but pick the next map that I play on. I think that's really cool. So, you know, and to be honest, any of them will be fine for me, you know. I think they're all really good, so. No. Don't want to hit this tree. There we go. This is the one thing good about a headland, is that I have room to turn around without getting into the crop. Oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Too far over. There we go. Yeah, that's one advantage to that headland is I have room to turn around, you know, without getting into a tree or getting into the crop. So, 38 minutes. Well, I was going to try to keep this down to 20 minutes, but oh well, that didn't really work out, did it? I guess that's the thing I wanted to ask you guys. You know, I've been giving a lot of thought to the channel and what I can do to make the channel better. Now, video quality is video quality. I'm pretty much running as good as I'm going to get as far as that goes with my current setup. You know, someday I'll have a new PC, and you know, then we can bump everything up and run at 60 frames per second all the time and all of that. And I've been trying to think what I can do to make the channel better. You know, I don't know. I don't want to become slick. You know what I mean? I don't want to be one of these slick YouTubers that comes in and does something for 20 minutes, you know, puts a bunch of fancy editing on it, you know, and then goes away. You know what I mean? I like the way that I make videos at the moment, for the most part, and hopefully you guys do too. But I was wondering if video length is an issue for you guys, because I will gladly ramble on and play this game or any other game that I play basically for, you know, an hour without really even thinking about it. It's been 40 minutes already and it doesn't feel like it, you know what I mean? There is a certain amount of things, you know, in Farming Sim that take a certain amount of time. harvest takes, you know, a finite amount of time. It takes a measurable amount of time. So, and yes, I could speed this up. You know, I could do a time lapse or whatever. But since this was what my plan was for this episode anyway, it didn't seem like it made a lot of sense. So I guess what I'm asking is, if you guys are happy with the video length, would you like to see them maybe all in the 20-minute range instead of, you know, sort of scattered all over the place between 20 minutes and an hour? You know, I do try really hard to keep them at a reasonable length because, as I've said over and over and over again, I know how hard it is to sit down and watch an hour-long video. When you go into your subscriptions tab on YouTube and you've got 50 videos you want to watch, well, there's only so many hours in the day, and you have to do other things. I don't want to take all your time away from playing games or hanging out with your family or going outside or playing with your dog or your kids or your wife or whatever. You know what I mean? I appreciate the fact that you spend a few minutes of your day every day watching my videos. So whatever I can do to make that easier for you. So maybe you guys can let me know, you know, about video length. Would you like to see 20-minute episodes? Should I have broke this up into a part 1 and a part 2? Or do you just want me to go until I think I'm done? Whichever way you guys decide. Oh no, I was hoping I could finish that. Ugh. This is why my videos are so long, I guess. Well, you big doofus, if you'd have brought the tractor over here instead of having to drive all the way across the field. You know, and any other suggestions you guys have for the channel. Maybe it's, you know, talk less, talk more, talk about different stuff, don't talk about this, do this, you know, whatever. Any other suggestions you guys have about the channel, if they're reasonable, and they don't change the fundamental core of the channel, because believe it or not, guys, I don't go out of my way to be dumb. I don't, you know, start off a video going, oh, what can I screw up that will be funny? That's not what I do. Dumb stuff just tends to happen, and I leave it in because I've said this numerous times. I like to believe that I play games just like everybody else. I am not a professional gamer by any means. I am a person who plays games, and I'm going to screw up, and things are going to go wrong, and things are going to break, and you know, and I'm going to laugh about it, and I'm going to leave it in, and hopefully you guys have a laugh about it too. That to me is the core fundamental of this channel. You know, but there are definitely things that could be better, you know. Aside from video quality, which is out of my control at the moment, I just don't have enough money to buy a new PC, you know. So someday I will, you know. And then we can have dumb at 60 frames per second, I guess. Which actually could be a lot of fun. All right, BP. Well, here's a suggestion for you. Get this harvest done already. Jeez, 42 minutes. I could have harvested 4 fields in this time. I don't know why I did it in that really bad New York accent, but I did. So there you go. Now, just for the sake of not leaving little silly windrows everywhere, I'm not going to really chase those couple of stalks right there. I've got some fairly straight windrows right now. I'd like to keep them that way. Run all the way down here. Get this last bit. And we'll call that an episode. And in the next episode, we will be raking and baling this and bringing the bales up to the dairy farm and getting them stacked up and whatnot. And then after that, we will be harvesting some potatoes. So probably next episode, rake, bale, you know, maybe do some animal stuff probably. And then I might as well run over and empty this, I guess. In the episode after that, we'll be doing potatoes, and then it'll be planting alfalfa and everything, and then it'll be winter. And then after a few episodes of winter, it'll be spring again, and we'll be back at it again. So plenty of episodes coming, plenty of stuff coming, you know what I mean? I just love this map so much. I could play on this map forever, I think. So whether I do a Let's Play on it forever, even though it may seem like it, I doubt it, you know. I'm sure when I get to 100 episodes, I'll stop. But so anyway, while I drive over here, I'll do my little spiel that I do at the end of every video. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please let me know what you think about the video, about the channel, about the series, about the map, about the game, about Farming Simulator, about any other game that I play, or any game that you guys play, maybe. Anything you guys want to talk about. You know, as I say over and over and over again, you guys are always welcome to leave me comments about anything. You know what I mean? If you've got questions, feel free to ask them. make sure you check out pcsg.uk. It's a great simulation forum that I have been woefully inactive at lately, and I apologize for that. For anybody from PCSG who may be watching this video, I apologize that I have not been active over there in a very long time. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I promise I'm coming back. It's a great place to go hang out. Lots of great people, very friendly, you know, great place to ask questions and learn about stuff. Some awesome exclusive mods and things like that. Make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description of all of my videos. What else? I think that's about it. And you know, thank you so much, guys, for the comments, for the likes, for the subscriptions, for the feedback, for the interaction. That's why I do this. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? If you're new to the channel and you just stopped by, saw our Old Ridge Farm Farming Simulator, thought you want to check it out, you like what you see, click the like button. It helps me and the channel out a whole bunch. Also, consider subscribing. It's the best way to be notified of when I make a video, which is pretty much every day. And as always, guys, thank you so much for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.